The conference that led to Germany's decline from greatness and what happened. The 19th century marked a period of change for Germany. The country was on the rise, with a growing economy and flourishing culture. But at the end of the century, it was hit by two major events, the Franco-Prussian War and World War I. These two events led to Germany's decline from greatness. At the beginning of the 19th century, Germany was on the rise economically and culturally. As a result, they were able to pay for their own army and create an impressive military force that would help them in their fight against France during the Franco-Prussian War in 1870 to 1871. However, this victory came at a price. It left them financially drained as well as weakened their position as a leader in the international community. This meant that they had to start looking for other resources to power their kingdom. As a result, they turned away from their military value and started concentrating more on industry and technology, as well as cultural achievements like the Wagnerian opera movement, which was created in the 19th century. This period of history is called the Prussian-German Renaissance, and it took place between 1807 to 1871. The Prussian General Staff headquarters became the Prussian Military Academy after the French invaded in 1870. In this period, industrialization took place as a result of railway development, iron production, and coal mining. This industrialization helped create a strong economy that was able to fund the military rather than relying on levies from its citizens, which had caused previous conflicts since it is not fair for the majority of citizens to pay for the military that only provides protection for a few. 1700s-1800s, Industrial Revolution took place in this period due to railway development, iron production, and coal mining. 1800s-1900s, French Revolution, American Revolution, Industrial Revolution, World Wars. 1789, French Revolution. Robespierre is elected President of France in 1793-5. Reign of Terror, during which thousands are killed through the guillotine in 1848-9. Revolutions across Europe, especially in France and Italy in 1848. These revolutions caused changes in the way governments are run and help progress the ideas of socialism and communism. 1861-65, American Civil War 1870s. After the American Civil War, a large number of veterans from both sides are left unemployed. This causes many to search for new ways to make money. Some turn their backs on farming and become more focused on industry, becoming one of the first industrial workers. The other idea to make money is to take jobs at mines and other places. 1867, First International Workingmen's Association is founded by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. This organization unites socialist workers across Europe, who are fighting poverty, capitalism, and the state in general. They plan a revolution to overthrow capitalism. The biggest takeaways from the Conference of Berlin in 1878. The Conference of Berlin in 1878 was the first international conference on international law. It was organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Germany and attended by representatives from around the world. The conference in Berlin lasted for 3 weeks and had nearly 500 delegates. The most significant outcome of this conference was that it led to the establishment of a permanent international law commission, which is still active today. Here are 4 biggest takeaways from the Conference of Berlin. 1. The idea that war is an act of aggression against one nation by another, which is prohibited under international law. 2. The idea that all states have a duty to maintain peace. 3. The idea that states should be bound by treaties and agreements signed with other states. 4. And finally, the idea that there should be a central authority to oversee and enforce international law, which eventually became the United Nations General Assembly. The conference brought together representatives from several countries and created a lasting framework for international law. The 1996 Hague Convention on Jurisdiction, Applicable Law, Recognition, Enforcement, and Cooperation in Respect of Parental Responsibility and Measures for the Protection of Children provides an international legal basis for custody cases involving children that is recognized by countries around the world. The convention was negotiated in 1996 at a conference held at The Hague, Netherlands. The surprising unreported story of how the Conference of Berlin changed the world. This section discusses the surprising and untold story of how the Conference of Berlin changed the world. The conference was held in 1878 and had 4 main goals. 1. To promote free trade among European countries. 2. To make sure that Germany would not be taken over by France or Russia. 3. To end slavery in Africa and Asia. 4. To establish a new international system of law. The Conference of Berlin was an international conference in 1878 that established a new international system of law. It was the first meeting of all major European countries since the Congress of Vienna, and it ended all discussion about empire and colonization. In total, 23 countries were represented at the conference, and they agreed to put an end to slavery in Africa and Asia. A major result was the Conference of Berlin Act, which recognized that all treaties made with European countries would be null and void. This was one of the main causes of European colonialism coming to an end. The Conference of Berlin was held in 1878 and dedicated to negotiating a new international system of law after the Congress of Vienna failed. This caused many European powers to cease colonization efforts. And some nations began to establish colonies in Asia and Africa. The conference culminated in the signing of the Treaty of Berlin, which named a number of non-colonizing states and colonies that were not to be violated in any way. They included Egypt, Morocco, Belgium, Portugal, and Switzerland. These nations established treaties with European countries that denied them the right to colonize their territory or establish a colony on any other European country's soil. It would take a long time before any country broke this treaty. The Fashoda incident was a diplomatic crisis that occurred in the Sudan between France and England in 1898. It is known as one of the most significant incidents in European colonial history. In 1893, France under Napoleon III sent an expeditionary force to southern Sudan led by Captain Charles Marchand to build a fort at Fashoda, Fez el Jebel. This caused the British, who had controlled Sudan since 1882, to take offense and send a much larger force to Sudan to destroy the fort and arrest Marchand. The two sides met at Fashoda, and due to diplomatic pressure from both Britain and France, no direct military confrontation occurred. However, Britain did not back down and continued to occupy southern Sudan. The invasion of Ethiopia in 1935 was the first in which the French were defeated. Though they did launch a successful attack on Dakar from Senegal before being pushed back by a German counterattack. Thank you for watching the Conference of Berlin or the Division of Africa in 1878, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please.